Well, it's that time again. Time to look back at some of the best games of the past year. 2011 was undoubtedly an amazing year for gaming. I mean, we fought the undead on Earth, in space, and even in the bowels of hell. We dealt with supernatural girlfriends, dragon invasions, went to a cybernetic future, and stopped all of Batman's classic villains. Hell, we even managed to stabilize the Zelda timeline, and that's saying something. And whether we were hacking away at some untold evil in a fantasy world, or leading the world's coolest gang on their rise to the top, or even solving murder mysteries in Old Town LA, we really had a lot of fun doing it. I will openly admit that this year by far was the hardest for me to pick my top 10 favorite games of the year. There were just so many exceptional titles that I really feel were must-buys, and I think that unfortunately a lot of these titles did get overlooked by gamers, and I'm hoping that this countdown will actually help with that. So what we're going to do is my top 10 personal picks for my favorite games, but I will also be doing some honorable mentions along the way during the countdown so that certain games that I feel deserve a nod don't get overlooked. Now, two things that I want to clear before we start. Number one being that this is my personal picks for the top 10. It's okay if you don't agree or you think that other games maybe should have gotten in there. This is my personal opinion based off of the fact that this year I was a full-time gamer and tried to play every single major release that came out. The second thing is that this is not based necessarily off of the review scores that I've given these games previously in the Hateful Truth game review series. Just because I score a game doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to all of a sudden automatically win Game of the Year. So you may see that, maybe a game that I rated an 8.25 maybe beats out a game that I rated an 8 on my scale, and that's okay. What I'm looking at here is the big picture now that I've played every major release of 2011, how they really left that final flavor and aftertaste in my mouth, and how I would like to rank them on my personal opinion. Well, we got a lot of ground to cover, so let's get started. It's DSP's Game of the Year Awards, the best games of 2011. Number 10, Dead Island. So, did you ever wonder what it would be like if you and 3 of your closest friends were stranded on a tropical island as a zombie outbreak occurred? Well, that's exactly what Dead Island sets out to find out. The game excels in many different areas, including locales, the attention to detail. I mean, every single room that you go inside in Dead Island has little minutia, things on the desks, really interesting stuff. It really feels like you are stranded on a real tropical island. The driving, some of the amazing amount of side missions and mini quests. There is just a lot of content in this game. In addition, every single one of the characters is unique and has their own special loadouts and skill trees that kind of make this a hybrid between a first-person hack and slash or shooter and an action RPG. I really enjoyed the gameplay of Dead Island, especially when I was playing with my co-op friends. And really, Dead Island's where it excels is actually could be considered its greatest weakness as well. This game at its core is meant to be a 4-player cooperative game. However, the game does actually allow you to play by yourself, and from everything that I've heard, this game actually isn't very good, and the difficulty curve actually spikes when you're playing by yourself. However, when we did play Dead Island, myself, John Rambo, Grog, and our friend Mayor McJustin as well, all did a 4-player online co-op. We had an absolute blast, probably some of the most fun I've ever had gaming with my friends, and I have to say that if you have 3 friends and you love zombies, you love survival horror, you want to get into something, this is the co-op game of the year for me by far. In fact, the only reason I think I didn't put this higher on my countdown is because of some annoying bugs that we experienced during our co-op gameplay. Most notably, actually, the matchmaking having major problems. Sometimes we just couldn't get into the same room, or someone would randomly drop out of the game and wouldn't be able to rejoin, which was really annoying, especially because we were playing it on launch week, and obviously there were no patches or anything available to fix these kind of issues. There are a couple other bugs as well, including some spots where we would get stuck in a certain area, but besides that, besides just these little amount of suffering, The amazing amount of gameplay, the fun, the experience you have just destroying the zombie hordes with your friends is definitely worth the experience. I definitely recommend it. You gotta check it out if you haven't. Coming up next, one of the quirkiest games I played in 2011, and probably one that a lot of people didn't even expect that I would play, makes a spot in my top 10. Check it out.